Welcome to the Collab Podcast. My name is Michelle.
And my name is Devin.
On this podcast, we explore concepts of self-mastery and community collaboration
through in-depth panel discussions and intimate interviews with dance's most prominent figures.
Yeah, she my peanut butter jelly snack, pull it ride, busty, painting. That's my sunshine when it's raining. That's my boo, yeah. When I'm all alone, she pulled through.
Welcome back to the Collab Podcast, everyone. I'm Michelle, and I am here with my brother Dylan and my sister Devin. And in this episode, we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary of the podcast. Woohoo! We've had a year full of unforgettable interviews with amazing guests in our dance community, and we're joined by a new co-host, our brother Dylan, this year. As we prepared for this commemorative season, we wanted to honor our roots and really reflect on all that we've been through in our journey in the dance community, both as business owners and now podcast hosts. We did that by bringing on our mom and our dad, and today, on our last episode of the season, we are welcoming our very special guest and brother back, Jordan, to the podcast.
Jordan has been dancing since high school. I may have had something to do with that. He can confirm that later on in the episode. He started his dance career and joined the renowned Filipino folk dance group Pasakat. While learning technical dance, he discovered his love for hip-hop, which he felt gave him the freedom to really express himself. He then transitioned his learned technical skills into hip-hop and joined Otay Ranch High School's Connections. Eventually, Jordan became one of the founding members of the Box Dance Studio, and his unique dance style and crazy ear for musicality landed him a leadership role as co-artistic director for junior competition team Raw. From there, Jordan eventually became artistic director for Ripe, the Box Dance Studio's adult competition team.
Jordan's intricate approach to dance made him a perfect fit for award-winning adult team 220, also known as Second to None. Shout out 220, all my 220 heads, where he spent the remaining years of his dance career. Aside from popularity and respect he gained among his peers through his creativity, Jordan also earned several accolades at Showstopper, a national dance competition based out of Anaheim, California. Jordan gave back to the dance community as a box dance studio instructor, sharing his craft and looking to inspire as many dancers as he could. Jordan then made the tough decision to put his passion for dance on hold to pursue the brave feat of enlisting in the United States Navy, and currently lives in Rota, Spain on the U.S. Naval Base with his wife, Jane. Welcome, everybody, Jordan.
Stuff. I always get like a huge smile out of him, like, oh, they mentioned me again. Before you start asking questions, I have a special pen for my pen friend. She's down there, but she's probably over here, up there, over there, somewhere. So I have this pen, and let me tell you, it's a knockout. It's a knockout pen. Literally, it's a knockout pen. It's a knockout.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I feel like we should give our listeners a little bit of context because perhaps they only know me from dance. And so after the studio, I ventured off into more content creation, and I have a YouTube channel where I kind of nerd out about all things stationery. So every time I talk to Jordy, he likes to talk about a video that I've just done or a pen that he's found that I need to review. So that's pretty hilarious. Where did you get that pen?
I got it at a store called Ale Hop down here. So it's kind of like like a $5 store. You just pick it out. And then I saw this. So I originally got a couple ballpoint pens, and I needed it for work. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this because, you do pen reviews. So I was like, all right, well, maybe one of her TikToks, she could be like, oh, here's the pen right here. Oh, yeah.
Do you use that pen at work?
Huh? This one?
Yeah.
No, I actually have another pen. It's a We Bare Bears pen, and I think it's Panda. and it's all different colors. So it's green, yellow, pink, purple, red, black, blue, green. So I use that for work because I like different colors.
The We Bear Bear one, it's a multi-pen. What?
She wanted one, and you can get it at Miniso. You guys have a Miniso? Okay.
Well, thank you for that little pen review, Jordy, big boy. I appreciate it.
I just want to point out really quickly, Jordan, you were like, it's a pen with like, red, green, blue. And then Devin's like, a multicolor pen? She corrected you.
Yeah.
Use the correct pen vernacular.
No, I had a follow-up question to make sure, because he doesn't have the pen in front of him. So I just wanted to fully envision what he was talking about. Like, is it a multi-pen, or is it like a set of pens and he has all the different colors, or is he talking about like the color, the barrel,
Yeah, so it's a multi-pen. So like, you know how like your regular red and green, it's like all the way around and all that stuff. So yeah.
Cute. Well, Dylan's falling asleep now.
I'm lost. I'm not gonna lie. When they were talking about barrels and colors, I was like, "Is this Mario Party or something?"
I do want to make like a weird transition, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about. We've been apart for quite some time now, Jordan, because you've been in Spain. But now that we have the two brothers together, I want to talk about kind of both of your experiences on 220 and how they sort of compare and contrast, because you've both had time, dancing with the team, and you've been under different directors, and you've, been among a different group of peers. But I'm interested to hear and how your experience compares, but also how it differs. And also a follow-up question to that. I know this is a long question, but also a follow-up question to Dylan is, I want you to talk a little bit about sort of living in Jordan's legacy, being on 220, and how you've had to redefine yourself.
Okay, Dylan, go ahead. I'm thinking.
Me first? Okay.
Yes.
So my experience on 220 has always been like prefaced by what Kuya has always told me. I've had a lot of expectation of 220 because of what he told me. And, going on to the team, obviously everyone was like, oh my God, little Jordy, blah, blah, blah. And, being the competitive person I am, and always wanting to try and one up Kuya or Jordan, I kind of had this chip on my shoulder. I was like, I don't want to be known as little Jordy anymore. I want to just be like my own person, my own like entity on 220. And that's what my motivation has always been. Because I feel like I've always followed Jordan, in just dance in general, because he is my idol at the end of the day. At the same time, he's my brother, and I always want to try to do better than him. So my experience is just always just, okay, like this next like Sexy Day project, it has to be better than his Sexy Day project that one time. You know what I mean? Or when he freestyles, because I know Kuye just has like a bank of just crazy freestyles from 220. I'm like, I have to like envision Kuya standing right in front of me and like, what's up? You want to battle? Like, let's go. That's personally my experience.
Cool. So my experience, I kind of want to like go back to like when like before auditioning for 220. So just a quick summary. So originally I auditioned for SGBM. And originally my best friend, so Alan Gonzalez, I mean, you both know him. So he was supposed to go with me to the SG auditions. He didn't. He was busy that day, so I was like, I'm just gonna go. And this is when I was still on like Ripe. I was still, directing Raw and all that stuff. So unfortunately, I didn't make SG. It was like the first cut. I didn't make it. So, I just move on. I just told myself, I'm just gonna stick with Ripe, train, all that stuff. Then the week after was a 220 audition. So I asked Alan again if he wanted to go with me. He said, yeah, I'll go with you. So I came to the audition. I was texting him because I didn't know a lot of people in 220 at that time. I knew some East Lake people that danced at the box, that stopped by and all that stuff. And then, he just texted me last minute. I'm not gonna go. So I sat in my car wondering, should I even do it? Like, I already didn't make SG. Why would I go to 220 and probably not make it again? Kind of be sad about it and like be disappointed. So I don't know what gave me that initial like push of just doing it just cause. And then after that, everything kind of followed through with 220. My experiences with 220 were great. At first, it was kind of like what I said earlier. I didn't really know a lot of people. I knew of people, and it's just a different universe. I wouldn't per se say that Ripe and 220 are two different worlds because, hip hop is all like in the same like melting pot. But just it's like me moving to Spain and just being around different people and not knowing what to do. My first year there it was exciting. I definitely made some great relationships. I definitely grew as a dancer, and it helped me develop more of a drive to become better, and especially like my artistic, creative mind really helped me to give that to Ripe and the box and all that stuff. So came around that time, my second year as well. I was just always trying to collab with everybody. So I was trying to collab with everybody in my Sexy Days. Dylan mentioned Sexy Day, and so I was like, oh yeah, I remember I was awarded Mr. Sexy Day because I think I collabed with maybe 9 or 10 people for a sexy night. It was very stressful. And then, just later on in the years, I started to develop, I would say like, for me, it was very consistent, and I was feeling that I hit the highest peak that I could, and then all of a sudden it just started gradually, falling down because, a lot of the practices that I would go to, they were exciting. I mean, I'd always have fun rehearsing, conditioning and all that stuff, learning new pieces. But then, it got to a point where it was like, I started realizing, is this what you really want to do? Is this what it's going to put, food on the table? I started like becoming an adult. It's sad to think about, but at the same time, I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do my life. As much as I wanted to, do dance and make it a career, I think what really shot me down was seeing and going to like those dance agency auditions and seeing like hundreds of people like put their heart out, and they only want people that have like the best looking hair, the best looking eyes, and all that stuff. So I think that kind of like put a knife in my heart. So when it came to those like last years on 220, it was like, you know, I love dancing, but I feel like that there's something else better for me out there. So after I left 220, it was really hard for me because, you know, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like giving up. Like if you had a pet dog that you love, sorry, Devin, I know that you have Max, I don't want to make you cry, but it's like, you know, you have to go somewhere, but they're telling you you can't bring, you know, Max, and you have to make that decision. So yeah, I mean, I know I kind of went off into a tangent, but my 220 experience was possibly like as similar as Dylan's now. I mean, he's currently on 220, so it's like a roller coaster. It's a huge roller coaster. Don't get me wrong, I love being on 220, and they're my family. I love them to death. I still hang out with them and whatnot. And, you know, sometimes you have to give up something you love to, you know, grow into a better person. Sorry, I have a strong relationship with them.
Well, I think that was a beautiful way to put it. Progress is not linear. And you had mentioned that you felt like you were on this trajectory up, and then you felt like peaking and almost plateauing and then having to take a step back. I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to in terms of our dance journey, but also just in life. And I think that what you did, taking inventory of what's going on and saying, okay, what's working, what's not, and understanding that this is just one season of your life. So this is the season where maybe dance isn't the most prevalent, but who knows, maybe in the next cycle of your life, you'll be like, I don't know, teaching classes or doing whatever it is that you want creatively with dance. And I also kind of just want to voice to our listeners that when Jordan, when all of us were really dancing, I don't know, I guess I can't really speak for Dylan because he's probably still in like the thick of it. But when Michelle and Jordy and I were like, I guess in the peak of our dance careers, that's when agency was the only path really that was established for a dance career. But it's so great to see that there are so many other opportunities now, especially after the pandemic. People are really creating their own ways to stay connected with dance and to make a living off of it. So don't feel boxed in, you know that there is a lot out there for you, and you just gotta, I really recommend doing what Jordy did, where it was just kind of like, here's where I see myself, here's where I'm at right now, how do I get from here to there, and let your creativity lead the way. Don't feel like you have to fall into what has already been done. There's a bunch of ways to get to that destination.
Well said.
Well, and I also think it's important to point out that I guess I never really thought of it because I was more thinking about just kind of like both being in the peak of it, on 220, but I didn't really think about kind of where you were separately in the timing of your life. like I was only thinking about one time point that would be equivalent for you both. But what I didn't consider is that, Jordan, you were on 220 at a different time in your life versus where Dylan is now. And I think it's really important for listeners to, in addition to what Jordan and Devin said, just to really think about kind of where you are in your life and what that means for you. Because I think that when I was asking you guys that question, I didn't take it into consideration. So I think that that's really important for our listeners to remember too. Think about where you are kind of in the time of your life, because that will help factor in some of these important decisions. You guys, you're just cerebral. I love it.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds great. Cerebral. It sounds like a mythical.
It just means that you use the critical thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually practicing for this because I recently watched Dad's podcast, and then I was, like every time that I watch you guys' podcast, I try to put myself in their shoes, try to think the way they think. There's always a different topic in your guys' podcast. So I try to apply myself in their situation and try to see how they were like maybe talking about like how I was saying about like you hit that certain peak, but there's like that big stop sign where it's like, well, what do you do now? Do you go left? Do you go right? You go straight, up, down. So, yeah.
Well, and I think that's the beauty of this podcast. And it's one of the things that like, I know I've personally taken away from having so many guests on is all the perspective that you get from it and all the different perspective. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a guest and then been like, oh, I never thought of it that way. Or like, oh, I kind of changed my mind about the way that I feel about that particular topic because the guests that we've had are so just so convincing or so passionate about whatever they're talking about that it convinces you and it gives you a new perspective. And so I think that that's really beautiful, Jordy, that you've been able to listen to all of our episodes and really put yourself in the guest's shoes and see those different perspectives, because it's one of the things that I've taken away this past year is just there's so many different views, so many different opinions, and there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you feel the most passionate about. And it's okay to change your mind about those things. So, shoot, you guys are just amazing.
I mean, there might be a comeback for me, dancing. I don't think I see myself in the competing mode anymore. No, because I'm almost 60 years old. But I definitely, I still dance when I drive. Like, when I'm going to work, I still dance, listen to music. I blast music, and then Jane, she's always like, can you please, turn that down? So we have, I don't want to say the name because it's right next to me, but Alexa is there. So we always play music. We always jam. She'll be cleaning the house, and then since we have bigger space, so we don't have furniture, I freestyle randomly. So even though that I'm not on 220 has given me the gift to continue dancing and make me feel, how would I say that? Dance like no one's watching. But in reality, my neighbor's across from me, so he's watching me through the window. So yeah, but I miss dancing.
Well,
maybe
you the confidence, right, Jordan? It's giving you the confidence to believe in the way that your body moves and feel comfortable with it, which I think is an amazing gift. And I've learned that through some of our mentors, Eric and Chevaye, and it's a beautiful gift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so maybe there might be a comeback for Banares Bros. I don't know. Might have to start some conflict, put us in a newspaper article. I'm just kidding.
Who's gonna start the East Coast branch of 220?
East Coast. Yeah, maybe.
Like how Culture Shock has Culture Shock LA, Culture Shock SD, Culture Shock, was it?
Florida.
I forgot. Florida. Florida.
Well,
I also want. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
that's okay. Go.
I also want to say, going off what Kuya is saying about 220. I mean, being from 220, being a 220 representative, you know what I mean? I can confirm that, like, 220 really, they really, like, instill in your heart that dance is for the love of it. Like, it's not, of course we compete. Of course we want to, try to make the best new dance or the best new, like, set. They really want you at the foundation of it just to love dancing. And like what I love what Kuya was saying, dancing like nobody's watching. Like at 220 practice, people are always watching, but they make you feel so comfortable and so at home that you feel free to do whatever and you just feel comfortable. And I love to hear that.
I'd like to add on. I know that it was just one question that you asked us, and now it's taking maybe like 40 minutes for that one question. But I also wanted to say that 220 really, I don't know if Dylan agrees with me, but I think it really made us appreciate family time. I think for both of us, me and Dylan, it's really hard for me and Dylan to kind of just go to every rehearsal, late nights from like 8 o'clock till whatever, 2 a.m. in the morning, and then kind of be like really tired and not being able to spend time with you guys. I know that you guys always, give us, little beef. I was going to say the curse word, but, kind of give us a hard time. Oh, I can say it?
Yeah, you can see. I mean, Mom said shit on the podcast.
So you guys give us shit, pretty much, saying, oh, you're going out, you're never home and all that stuff. And I think it's like...
Sorry, are you getting us confused with Mom and Dad? I don't...
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I don't give you guys shit.
You go ahead and edit Mom and Dad's face on your phone. But now that I realize that I'm here in Spain, I live here for already a couple years, it gives me some like sort of like appreciation. Well, it gives me a lot of appreciation because 220 has allowed me to appreciate the people around me, not only for their craft, but also their like support for one another. And it made me reflect on how much our family supports each other. And then going into like another branch of how much the box supported their students. And it kind of makes me sad because, I feel like that I haven't been around for the box as much. And like to this point, it's like, me and Jane always talk about like, oh, I miss the box. I miss going back to the studio. And like, I just appreciate 220 for enhancing my love for for our family, for the studio, and the people that we've touched upon, and just meeting strangers who turned out to be one whole like big family. Let's say, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Jordy. I mean, I think that this is an opportune time for, for me. I'm sure I've said it to you guys a million times, but you three are the reason why I wanted to start the studio in the first place. We had talked about it. Devin and I had talked about it in one of our first episodes. We joked about opening a studio, but what I saw in the three of you was passion, and just talent. I know we try to like refrain from using talent because we don't want to say like someone's talented, but I felt, and I'm biased, I felt like when I looked at the three of you, you had so much potential to be not only like amazing dancers, but just be whoever you wanted to be. And so I felt inspired by that. And so I wanted to open the studio for the three of you. And, unfortunately it couldn't survive, the economic climate and, and all the other circumstances that we had going. But I'm so thankful that we had it, because I think in the short time that we did have it, the four of us were able to build not only a legacy for ourselves, but a legacy that a lot of the community was part of. And I love all of you. And I'm so thankful that, in the time that we had the box, we enjoyed it and we thrived. And, it's something that we'll remember for the rest of our lives.
For sure. I think now would be, I love you too.
I'm gonna cry.
Don't cry. What I want to kind of transition to is the current chapter, the collab podcast chapter. And so specifically from Jordan, if you need a few moments to think about it, think very carefully before responding, because someone might be listening. Who, aside from yourself, is your favorite guest that we've had on the podcast?
Oh, man. It's only one. It has to be one.
Here, let me give you some help. She might be in the same house as you.
It starts with Je and then Ain.
No,
And you can have multiple. Let's say your top three. That way you don't feel like restrained.
starting from
Why? What you loved about that guest?
Oh, and a Y too. Oh, jeez. I feel so biased saying it, but I would say starting from number 3. Oh man, this is hard.
You don't have to rank them if you don't want to. You can just say whoever your top 3 in no specific order.
Well, I really like my wife, James. The reason being is, I'm not trying to be biased, because I see her every day and all that stuff. It's just, I tell her every day on how much I appreciate what she does, as in like her creativity. But, she's always like, you're joking and all that stuff. But when it comes to like, she greets the day and like making the design for collab and having, Lux and Leah, it makes me so happy that even though we're in Spain and we're kind of like, prevented in a way from like doing, or like kind of restricted from doing what we usually do in the US, she like still continues to do it. She's still crafting every day. She's always thinking of something new. And the reason why I like that podcast is because she really poured out her her passion for, you know, art. You know, her being my wife, you know, we talk about, you know, secrets and feelings and all that stuff. But after watching the podcast, it gave me more in depth on the other side of her artistic side. And like even before the podcast, I really appreciated her her craft. So that's something that I want her to try to understand without her telling me, "Oh, stop joking around." But in this current time, my goal is for her to open up her own storefront. And that's like my biggest goal for her, is to like just open it. I don't know how to explain it more, but like I can think about all my dreams and like what I want to do. Like I want to work on cars. I want to do like some mechanical stuff, and like I know that I can do it. But my bigger goals are like trying to get her there. Yeah, that's number one. Oh shit! I thought that was.
No,
Okay.
I was saying that was one. So you have two more favorite slots to fill.
Can you guys like give me a list? Because I'm like blanking out.
Yeah, for sure.
No, you just gotta know off the top of your head. I think that's good if you just want to go with Jane's, or if there was like another one that stuck out to you.
I'm telling you, mom and dad will be mad if you don't say them. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And I'm telling you that you have 3 other siblings in this call right now.
Yes. But, you know, for every podcast, you guys are in it. So I appreciate that you guys are always there.
So what number am I?
It feels like that I'm there too. It feels like that I'm there too. Like I'll be watching. So if you guys say a joke, I'll start laughing too. I'm like, oh, you guys are so funny. But the other podcasts that I really enjoyed the most was probably Dad's, the most recent. And kind of like what you guys were saying, like, you know, we'd always joke around about how Dad used to dance and all that stuff, but really diving deep into like his past is like a big like wow to me. Because, you know, Dad doesn't really talk about, you know, his feelings and his emotions and like what he did in the past unless you really ask him. And if you really ask him, he'll just be like, whatever. He'll say it as a joke. He'll pop out one of his dad jokes and be like, yeah, I don't want to talk about it. But I really like it because I don't know. It was just good. It was like, okay, compared to all your episodes, because I always keep track of the timer. It was a long episode, and I was like, that better be my episode. I want to be longer than that. I'm just kidding.
Jordy, did you like it because we showed that picture of Dad and he looked exactly like you?
So Jane, she was like, oh my God, is that you? So she kept like pressing the rewind, the 10 seconds back every time. But like the angle of the Instagram on her phone wasn't to her liking. So she would press rewind, full screen, rewind, back here. And then she was like, that looks like you. And then she was like, you definitely look like your dad. So yeah. Oh, and then third one, right? So You know what? It's actually pretty difficult because I might cheat a little bit. I really like Mom's, Dylan's, and Kiara's. Like I said, I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but it's like we see, you guys see mom and dad every day, or so as it seems. And we only know them as, they're always joking around, being funny. Dad's always sleeping every time the movie starts or something. And then like just listening to all three, it's like kind of like what I said earlier, like applying yourself in their position and trying to understand, who they were in the past and all that stuff. I mean, Dylan doesn't count for that because he was born after us. So it's kind of like living in the future. I don't know. Never mind. It doesn't make any sense. But I really like all the podcasts. It's a bigger step from the studio. I can tell you that.
Thanks, Jordy. That means a lot. I will say I agree with you on that, not because I'm trying to say that like this is a like more successful endeavor, but I will say it's bigger than the studio in that it's really given us an opportunity to get to know our guests in a way that we didn't have time to get to know them at the studio, because a lot of the instructors that would come in, they would come in, teach class, talk to the students for a little bit afterwards, and then they would leave. But to be able to sit down and have these like really intimate conversations is really fulfilling for us. And I would have to agree with you on that.
Yeah. And off subject, but when I was talking about Jane, she was just walking across right in front of me and she kept bending down to look, but I was not trying to make eye contact with her to start smiling. So I kept like staring at the screen, but she's right here. She's staring, or she's looking at her phone, but she's trying not to. Yeah. Now she's hiding behind the couch.
Hi, Jane. We're wearing your earrings today, Devin and I.
Oh, they're wearing your earrings.
Look.
We support your craft for sure. Open a storefront. Do it.
I like that. Is that trying to like focus? Yes. No.
Talk about that. Who is your vote? Who do you think is the favorite child, Jordy?
Oh my God. Hands down, Devin.
Hands down, Devin.
I don't know how it looks in the gallery view, but I'm pointing at Jordy.
When you asked, so I don't know who asked Dad, and then Jane saw your reaction, Ate, or Ate Michelle's reaction on who's the favorite child, and he was like, I don't have a favorite child. And then you're like, yeah, right. And then Jane asked me the question, and then I was like, Devin.
You know what it is?
But it might be when Devin moves out, it'll be Dylan.
No, you know what it is? I've always thought of it this way. Me and Ate Michelle are the farthest apart from the both of you. So we're like the participation award childs. You two in the middle, you guys get all of it.
That's true. Well, and my vote is for you, Jordy, because let me tell you. So I can't remember what day it was, but we were all together and like mom was like talking like really aggressively to us. Sorry, mom, I'm outing you. She was like talking like really aggressive to us. And then I think you had called or dad had called you. And then all of a sudden she was like, I don't know what she was saying to us, but then like her tone totally changed. And she was like, oh my God, hi, Jordy. Hi, baby boy. What the heck? First of all, your tone changed, Mom. Secondly, Jordan is an adult, so you don't need to talk to him like that. And call him hi baby boy.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't really noticed that, but now that you say it, she says it a lot. She's like, "Hi, baby boy. Okay, bye, Jordy boy. Bye, baby boy." I'm like, okay, but
It's true.
still don't think that it's me. I think it's Dev.
No,
She
no, no,
has
no,
two
no, no.
rooms in that house. She has an office and she has my old room.
That's because I have a partner, and so we take up more space.
Okay, so Viet's the favorite child. I'm just kidding.
I'd also like to put up for nomination Max and Ein.
Oh yeah, Max and I. Yes.
Wait, Jordy, you should hear the way that mom talks to the dogs now. She calls them kiddos. And she like talks to them. Like legit like looks at them and talks to them. She's falling hard for those dogs.
Yeah, I remember the first day I brought Ein home. She was like, "Get that dog out of here. You better return it." And I remember I picked it up. I picked Ein up in Mir Mesa. That's when my Nino, Uncle Rufus, was like, "Oh," he's like, "I have a friend that's, wants to find an owner for Ein." So I was like, "Okay." So I drove all the way down to Mir Mesa, picked him up, brought him back home. And then I remember it was like a party. It was a party for somebody. I remember that. And then I just let Iron run around the whole house, and mom was so pissed. She was like, "You better return that dog tonight." So I remember dad walking in, and then he was like, "Oh, yeah, you have a dog. You have a dog, yes." He's like, "Well, mom wants me to, return him tonight." And he's like, okay. You should just put him in the garage until tomorrow and you return him. And then ever since then, Ein's there. But it's so weird that when I leave, she falls in love with Ein. She probably sees me and Ein. She's like, "Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I am the favorite child. I don't know."
You are. See, now that you've talked it through, mom and dad, you lied to all of us. It's Jordy Big Boy.
Oh, I was saying that I believe that Kuya or Jordan is actually dad's favorite child. I don't know about mom, but Kuya is dad's favorite child. You're named after Michael Jordan, dad's favorite basketball player.
And you're named after Dylan and Cole, mom's favorite TV show. I'm just kidding.
I named Dylan. Dylan Cole. And I just got rid of the Sprouts.
You should have asked them. So you know how you asked mom who's your favorite child? You should have asked, or you should have asked dad who's your favorite child, and then you should have asked mom who's her least favorite child. I'm just kidding.
Who got in the most trouble? Jordy. Jordy.
Oh, did I get in trouble a lot?
Jordy or Ate? Because Ate was on restriction a lot.
I was on restriction all the time, but then I turned that around real quick. I got responsible. I earned a paycheck. I got a car.
I feel like me and Ate are like the same. We were troublemakers, but we took responsibility. But the ones down there were given everything.
I will say Jordan and I are the same in that we were troublemakers, but I'll say that we're different in that Jordan never took responsibility.
Okay, well, I think we're never really going to come to an agreement on this, so I'd like to shift the conversation. Let's do a little collab 1 year anniversary pop quiz.
Woo woo!
I didn't study.
I'm your host for this pop quiz. I'm going to be asking a series of questions. I don't know if we should do like a round robin style or if you guys want to quote unquote buzz in to answer. What do you guys think?
Should be like the first one to react.
How about like stand up? That would be funny.
First one to raise your hand.
Okay, yeah, you have to be the first to raise your hand to answer.
The video is laggy. So what if I go first and then it's like stuck?
Okay, so we'll go round robin, and then the person, like, if the person cannot answer, then the next person who's supposed to go will get a chance to answer.
Yeah.
Round robin or red robin?
Let's make accommodations for mom and dad's favorite baby boy, Jordan.
Wait, so it's gonna start with me and then it's gonna go to who next?
I don't know. Dill and Ate, do you guys want to rock, paper, scissors for it, or?
You should go oldest to youngest.
Okay, so since Jordy's our guest, he'll be the first. I want to invite our listeners to also join and try to answer our little pop quiz questionnaire. Am I keeping score?
I can help you keep score if you want.
Okay. Yes, please. Thank you. All right, get ready. Are you ready? There's no phone a friend. Hawaii.
Hawaii, I've been there.
Oh, kawaii.
Oh.
Kawaii. Cute.
Good.
Are we ready? Jordy, are you ready? Okay, we're going to start with an easy one.
Okay.
I feel like we should be playing like Eye of the Tiger or something, like to get us pumped. But here we go. Question number 1 goes to Mr. Jordy Big Boy. How many seasons have aired of the Collab podcast? Without checking your phone. Without Jane telling you.
How many seasons? Is there like a timer on like before or at?
I'd say you have 10 seconds to answer.
I'm gonna say 4.
You are correct. Woo! 1 point for Jordy Big Boy. Goes to Ate. How many episodes in total have aired of the Collab podcast?
All right, so 4 seasons. First season we had 10 episodes. So 10 plus 8 plus 8. I can't do math this fast. Hold on. Can I use my calculator? Cameron would be really mad at me.
But we have to see you calculating and not checking the feed. So you have to turn your phone around.
My calculator.
That's more than 10 seconds. It's already at a minute.
It took me a while to punch in the numbers. 32 episodes.
Is that your final answer?
Well, shit, now it's not.
In total, the Collab podcast has aired 33 episodes. So close.
Dang it, how many episodes did we have in season 1? 10.
10. And then the second season is actually a total of 9 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to say 8, and then 8, and then 6.
Wait, I did that.
Do the math right?
Hold on. I'm going to 10.
10, 8, 8, and 6. Am I wrong? Oops. Okay. So it has been revealed that I am not a mathematician. That is correct. 32 episodes. Also, I did it last minute. So sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
My point.
What was that?
I just wanted my point.
Okay. So on the scoreboard, Jordy Big Boy, 1 point. Ate Michelle, 1 point. Dill This question is for you. Finish this sentence.
Oh, God.
On this podcast, ... And for bonus points, tell us who says what part. So you'll get 2 extra bonus points. This question could put you in the lead on this podcast.
Before Dylan answers, me and Jane were practicing for that line. Just saying.
This is hard because when I edit, I just fast forward it. So it sounds like in the Bible. Blah, 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 blah.
This one's the tough one. I specifically didn't give it to Ade because she obviously says part of this intro.
Mm.
You got 10, 9.
I don't know.
Oh, poor Dill. Okay, but you will know after the season. All right, so the question goes to Jordy Big Boy. Finish this sentence on this podcast.
Okay, so Michelle says it on that part. She says, on this podcast, we discuss. On this podcast. Babe.
Explore.
No lifelines.
Okay, Dill. Okay.
On this podcast.
Dill, you're
On this podcast. Wait, is it on this podcast?
on this podcast.
Yeah, we discuss self-mastery. What the hell? What kind of podcast are you guys running here?
Okay, so Jordy gets a point for saying that this part is Michelle speaking. It's not the Michelle. So Jordy, you get a point for that. Dill kind of helped you with the next word. He got a little bit closer. So I don't know. Is it brothers? Is this is for you until I give it to Ate.
We explore.
We explore self-mastery.
No. There's one more. We explore the concepts of self-mastery.
Concepts of self-mastery and discuss. Not discuss. Explore concepts of self-mastery. And
All right, I think we have to move on. Gonna no? Okay, you got 5 seconds.
Dylan's trying to listen to it though.
No, on this podcast, we explored the concepts of self-mastery
And
community collaboration. Right?
Yes. Can you finish it?
Jordan's looking it up right now.
All right. So give it to Ate.
tail.
On this podcast, we explore concepts of self-mastery and community collaboration. And then Devin says, through in-depth panel discussions and intimate interviews with community's most prominent leaders.
Oh no, she doesn't get the point.
Wait, shit, really? I messed it up? Through in-depth panel discussions
One word.
and intimate interviews with dance's most prominent figures.
There it is.
She doesn't get a point because she stuttered.
Okay, I won't take the point. That's fine, but I did know most of it.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like the episode of Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer where she's just standing there. She's like, right.
Okay, so we are back to
Really.
Dylan. Dylan, this question is for you. Name all of the platforms that you can stream the collab podcast. To help you out, there are currently 6 ways to stream the collab podcast.
Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Apple Music. Is that the same thing as podcast? I only know those 3.
That's half. Jordy, you want to take the other half of the point?
Amazon. Your guys' website. Yeah.
I didn't count that one, but okay. But you still have 2 more to list then to get the half point.
So Dylan said Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Amazon.
I don't think he said Amazon Music. So
No, I said
oh, okay.
Amazon.
Website.
And the website.
There's 2 more.
They already said Apple.
Look at you, babe. Stop looking at your wife.
She came here. She wanted to help. There's another one. I always see it on Google, but I never click it.
Google.
It's Google?
Google Play. Last one, Jordy. Last one.
That's some weird website. I don't know. I'm just going to blurt out an answer. I'm going to say Gersh Blast.
So, Jordy, I think we give you the half point because I forgot to include our website, the main place where you can listen to the podcast. So, Dylan, you get a half point for YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Jordy mentioned Amazon Music, our website, and Google Play. You can also listen to our podcast on Stitcher.
Stitcher, that son of a Stitcher.
What's a Stitcher?
Wow. Things are heating up in here. Next question goes to Michelle. Name the guests. Listen to this question very carefully. Name the guests on the first episode that aired on the Collab podcast.
Of the guest, that would be Jordy Big Boy.
That is incorrect. Let me repeat the question for Dylan. Name the guests on the first episode that aired of the Collab podcast. Think about that very carefully because it might not be what you think. Name the guests on the first episode that aired of the Collab podcast.
I know it now.
Sorry. Okay, final answer. The first guests that ever aired were Darian and Divine.
I feel like you looked it up.
I didn't, though. I really didn't, though.
That is correct. Our very first guest, the guests on our very first episode that aired of the Collab podcast are Divine Maharaj and Darian Patterson. Okay, so Jordy, this question is for you. Listen to the question very carefully. Name the first guest that we interviewed. Well, actually, Jordan wouldn't know this one, so I'm gonna switch around. He wouldn't know. He would not know. I feel like I can't give. Can I come back to you, Jordan? Okay, well, I'll just give you this one. This one's like a shoo-in. If you get this wrong, then I don't know.
What?
I don't know how you got it wrong. Okay, this question is for you, Jordy Big Boy. Name all of the couples that have been a guest on the Collab podcast?
I'm going to say mom and dad first, even though they had single episodes.
Oh, yeah. So to clarify, we haven't had a couple appear together on an episode, but there have been couples who have been guests throughout the seasons of the Collab podcast. So mom and dad.
I guess they weren't talking to each other at that time. I'm just kidding. We got into an argument. Me and Jane. How many? One more?
One more left.
What the hell? In the same podcast?
No, just aired across the seasons. So these couples have not necessarily appeared together on an episode, but they have been guests through the duration of the podcast.
Isidro and Celine.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Good job, Jordy.
Thanks.
How is Jordan winning this?
And after that, we'll do rapid fire because I've been practicing for that too.
Okay, so Ata Michelle, this question is for you. Name the first guest we interviewed for the Collab podcast.
That was Jordy. Shit. Oh, no. It was the panel discussion with Dilly, Rani, Ryan, and David.
That's correct. They were actually, so that was a little bit of a trick question. We actually sat down and filmed an in-person interview. It was our very first one, and it was with those amazing 4 friends from 220, and they really helped us get the ball rolling for the podcast. So thank you to you guys. All right. This one we can cut out if we're not comfortable sharing the answer to, but this question is for Dylan. Dylan, for all the marbles, the Collab podcast wasn't originally imagined to be a podcast. What was Collab originally supposed to be?
A studio. Final answer.
You are correct.
So wait, does that mean Dylan wins because he answered the winning question?
No, I just liked saying like for all the marbles.
Okay, so the final points are Jordy with 3.5 points, Dylan with 2.5 points, and me with 2 points, which I think this competition was rigged. I'm so mad.
Thank you for playing. That was so much fun. And yes, to kind of circle back to that last question, Collab was originally imagined to be a studio. You guys already know that we poured blood, sweat, and tears and so much love into the box dance studio. And that was a dream that we revisited often. And we had talked about opening another studio. I don't really see that. I guess the podcast has really been the vehicle for us to connect with the dance community in place of having something like a physical studio. Will there be a studio in the future? Never say never, but I know that I can say with the utmost confidence that this podcast has been the best thing that could happen for this next chapter for all of our dance journeys, right, guys?
Absolutely.
Congratulations to Jordy, our special guest. You win the anniversary pop quiz championship.
You get to be a guest on the next season.
You win a guest spot on the next season, and you also win a trip to Florida to see Mom, Dad, and Dylan. Congratulations.
Oh my gosh. Your expenses are not paid for.
They're actually paid for.
Okay, so an all expenses paid trip. And paid
my own pocket. I'm just kidding. But can we do the rapid fire? I was really studying for that.
Are you ready? We're going to do it super quick. Dill, do you have the rapid fire up?
I can pull it up
Okay.
right now.
All right, Jordy, let's do the rapid fire. I'm going to set the timer for 45 seconds, and you've listened to all the episodes, so you know how this works. The goal is to answer as many questions as you can as quickly as possible before the timer goes off. You've been working out, so clearly you're ready for this. Dylan, are you ready for this? All right, on your mark, get set, go.
Favorite food?
Spanish food.
Favorite movie?
Goodfellas.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
Spain.
What did you eat for breakfast this morning?
I had pastel de nata, Burger King, and soft shell crab tacos.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite sibling?
Pass. Me.
What's your dream job?
My dream job is to work on airplanes.
Time. Good job, Jordy. So Dylan, Jordy, and Dad's all favorite color is blue.
Yes. You know, when Dad said that his favorite color was blue, and then Dylan was like, "That's my favorite color." I was like, over here, I was like, That's mine."
Blue is a very common color, so I feel like a lot of people are going to say that.
Yeah, it's like if you're at like the whole rapid fire, it's like the first color that comes up to mind. It's either red or blue.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say black, white, or gray, that's a shade. Shouldn't count.
Mom said black.
Primary.
I know. And then,
Technicality from that point.
I know. Mom said, would she say black or gray?
Black.
She said black, and I'm over here on the computer. I'm like, that's a shade. And then I'm over, because I watch a lot of Devin's TikToks and stuff, and I'm like, I know those colors. That's not a color. That's a shade.
Jordy, thank you so much for joining us on this very special commemorative episode of the Collab podcast. We love you. We can't wait to see you in person. The four of us are finally back together again, and I love it so much. On behalf of Dylan and Devin, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you so much. Thank you so much for listening to the Collab podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by leaving a review on iTunes.
And be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcast.
The conversation continues over on Instagram and YouTube with highlights from today's episode.
When you on the way, make that move. Case they dead, no, that's my boo. Yeah, that's boo.